You said when you went down the elevator, your friends, everything like that. How much more equipped are you guys as a family, as a unit, starting from your dad to even Melania, to your brothers, to your sister? I understand your sister and Jared probably won't be a part of this upcoming administration. You know, they say that Washington, D.C. is like Hollywood, but for ugly people. You guys are the best looking family ever to grace the White House. I mean, no joke. I mean, from everyone associated with this. How much more equipped are you guys ready now in 2024, 2025 than you were in 2016?
Oh my God, guys! As I said before, I can see the game from a mile away. I know the game that they're going to play before they actually play that game. So, and I do think we were probably naive going in the first time.
How could you not be? Right?
I think the whole country was a little bit naive going in as to what the actual game was. I always say that, honestly, I think the greatest moment in my life will be, January 21st, or, right after inauguration, right after he, leaves the stage the day before. I want to just pop some popcorn, sit back on the couch, and just watch the show, because it's going to be amazing. I mean, he knows where the corruption is. He knows where the nonsense. He can fix the problems. He can fix immigration second one, day one. He can get energy prices down. He can fix the economy. He can restore relations. He can stop the war, the bloodshed, the senseless dying. He can put Iran in their place, all right? So, Israel's not getting shot at every single day. He can do that in the first hour that he's in office. He knows how to do it, and honestly, it won't even be hard for him to do. And to me, that's like hugely exciting. It's hugely exciting to we get it, we get the system, we get the game, and also I think we've got a little bit of a kind of proverbial bulletproof vest on now, right? Again, it doesn't. Yeah. Well, I mean, we need he needs a real bulletproof vest, and people are trying to kill him. All right, there are foreign actors that are trying to kill him, and I know that's a controversial statement, but it's fact.
Yes.
But in terms of kind of the nonsense, it doesn't stick the way it did before, because again, people get their games, and so I hope. And I trust, aside from the Janie Raskins, those people who are just fucking lunatics, I truly think you'll have much smoother sailing time too, because I think that sea's been parted in a certain way.
I don't know if you can name names, but maybe just archetypes, types of people. Who are the type of people that you think President Trump will align himself with and surround himself with in the Oval Office in 2025 versus 2016?
So let me tell you kind of the coolest thing about this journey. You had 2016 when literally no one believed in you, right? As I said, we had like that small handful of family members and a couple close people who largely came out of our company who really won this campaign. And it was an amazing story, right? I mean, you want to talk about David and Goliath. She spent $1.5 billion. He put in 200 and I think the whole campaign was like $300 million. It was like a 5-to-1 deficit in terms of, of funding. And then all of a sudden, all these people, as he did better and better, started kind of rushing in. Then obviously he's in the White House, and there's people that trickled out, and came in, and that's fine. All of a sudden you get to kind of 2020, and you had those people that stayed with you 100%, and you had those people who kind of ran for the hills. You had people who jumped ship and went to different campaigns. You had, certain, great play. The great point is we're at a point where we've seen the filter work so many times. We saw who was there in the beginning and who was stable. We saw who was there during the administration, who did a phenomenal job, who really was principled and fought hard. We saw the people that kind of deserted during those years, that fell in with other campaigns, that, maybe endorsed other candidates, and then we saw, kind of who tried to come back with a little smiley face, who tried to make contact again, despite the fact that they had stabbed you in the back 100 times. We know who these people are. We know the good ones. We know the bad ones. We know the competent ones. We know the, totally inept ones. And I think that's a great thing for him. In a certain way, it's like the greatest filter that you could have possibly had, which I think makes the whole setting up the whole administration so much easier. And
do you mind if I really quick? So I mean, we've seen what they have been doing from the beginning, from the Russia to where we're at, to the assassination attempts, which I don't even want to get into the fact that if it was incompetence or negligence, whatever, crazy situation. In the documentary that we saw, what was it the man you don't know?
You don't know. Yeah.
Your brother mentioned something that really hit me hard, and he said something. It was something about God and the spirituality level, especially in a moment like that. Because I don't care what anybody says. I'm a Christian. Tom's a Christian. We go to church. We go to the same church many times. That moment, especially when you see that 3D shot where literally your father just goes like this and it grazes his head. How? I don't know where your guys' level of Christianity or prayer or spirituality. Did anything really change? Because when your brother your brother said something that hit me, and he was like, Yeah, it kind of made me go, whoa, this is a whole different situation because they've tried everything and he's still fighting and he's still winning.
So let me tell you a little bit of a mushy story that I never thought I'd tell on this podcast. I think I've only told it once before, but Mike Huckabee in 2016 during the primaries, obviously he was running against my father. He comes off the stage. I'm backstage. I went to every one of the debates and comes backstage and he goes, I'm going to drop out of this race, Eric. And my father walked up at the same time. He said the same thing to my father. I drop out of this race. And he goes, I really believe that the spirit of God, God's hand is on your father's shoulder. And I go, wow, that's beautiful. And I'm not sure if I really quite knew what it meant at the time. And then you go through this 10-year, guys, there are some dark days, right? I mean, there are dark days where they're trying to get you. I mean, I sat behind him or next to him in court every single day, during the sham indictments when they're trying to effectively, do a hostile takeover of our company. They're trying to cancel business licenses. We've never done anything, freaking wrong. Some of that stuff's pretty dark. And you know what? Every single time there was kind of this miraculous, I don't want to necessarily call it light. I'm using that as a little bit of a metaphor, but something changed, and he was always guided in the right direction, right? You could not have beat Hillary Clinton, probably the greatest political dynasty, that family, with $300 million, not knowing what a delegate was going into, the state of, Iowa. Like, you just couldn't have done it. And believe me, he was being guided. He absolutely was. And I don't know, guys. You look at Corey. His wife tells the story. I'm not sure if you guys have heard this, but Corey's wife has told me several times, and my father, Corey, that day kept on saying to her, right, Donald Trump's going to bring me up on stage. Donald Trump is going to bring me up on stage. She's looking at him and saying, what are you talking about? Donald Trump's not going to bring you up on stage. There's 50,000 people here. How is he going to bring you up on stage? I'm telling you, I can feel it in my soul. Donald Trump's going to bring me up on stage. And
Corey, the fireman?
The fireman who was killed.
Oh, wow.
And literally during the RNC, I'm not a crier, but at the RNC, I mean, I'm fighting. I'm trying to fight back tears as you see that firefighting outfit up on stage. I mean, he was literally brought back up on that stage, and the fact that he was so emphatic with his wife about this whole story, the fact that the big American flag folded over and turned into a perfect angel above his head.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, yeah, I mean that's a shot right there. With he's going to bring me on the stage. He's going to bring me on the stage. I mean, there was no bigger stage in the world than this. Everybody was watching it. The entire earth was watching this performance, right? And he did it again in Butler when we returned that day. But then again, the flag. I mean, guys, I'm a competitive shooter. It's what I've done. I know that game as well as anybody. My 6-year-old son will make a 130-yard shot with a modern rifle every single time. Like, this is not a difficult thing. If you're a golfer, that's like a 4-inch putt. The fact that he turned his head, looked at a screen on the opposite side where the screens normally are.
Thank God for that graph of immigration.
The immigration graph was up there, which he normally throws in at the end of these things. I mean, you want to talk about 1,000 things going right to spare him. It's not coincidence. So, and one other thing, faith is totally under attack. It's not just Christianity, right? But faith is totally under attack in this country, and we're so much better than this. Again, I mentioned the Jewish student; they can't walk across the NYU or Columbia campus. But man, the way that they're attacking Catholics, the way that they're attacking evangelicals, I mean, what is it with these people that can't just stay out of people's lives and let them? It makes no sense to me. But God has been a big part of this journey. There's no question about it, and you can feel it, and we have felt it. And
podcast found on the PBD Podcast channel on YouTube. Void where prohibited by law.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.